results, transforming worlds to a better wonder to behold. No poverty, zero hunger for the elderly or younger. Good health and well-being, good education, empowering women to become sensation. Clean water, sanitation is a right of every nation. Economic growth inclusive and sustained through industry, innovation, and purely dedication. Yeah, infrastructure be gained. Reduce inequality for sure. Make human settlements secure. Take urgent actions to combat climate change. Conserve life below water and land. Ensure we do not estrange. Justice for all, a peaceful and empathetic nations. Let us all partner to achieve these goals and provide much needed salvation. Each one teach 10, no compensation. Each one teach 10, no compensation.
Hi everyone, welcome back to the podcast. And it's been a long time, but here we are once again. So, a very good morning, good evening, namaste, hola, bonjour, geregmade, terve, and maraban. This is Namya Joshi, your host for the day. Welcome to episode 105 of the podcast, Each One Teach 10, an amazing world of STEM, an inspiring venture where we'll be discussing that STEM is part of every day for every kid. We all will learn together how to build a STEM culture. Well, for today, my guest is Alana Winnick, who is not only an award winning leader, but also the author and the host of The Generative Age, a book and podcast that explores the rapidly evolving world of generative AI and its profound impact on education. She is currently the Education Technology Director and Data Protection Officer at Pocantico Hills Central Schools District in Sleepy Hollow, New York, and also serves as the Hudson Valley Director for NYSCATE, the New York State Association for Computers and Technologies in Education. In her work, she masterfully blends in her expertise in childhood education technology, and education leadership to empower educators and school leaders to prepare students for an AI-driven future. Well, today we are here to explore about how AI is transforming education, what it means for students and teachers, and how we can ethically and effectively integrate it into the classroom. Well, Alana, welcome to the podcast. I'm very excited to have you here today. So, how are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm so excited to be here. I think what you're doing is so incredible, and I'm just so honored to be a part of your podcast.
Thank you so much. The pleasure is mine. Well, before we begin, we would, love to know more about you and the work that you do.
Well, you did a really great job introducing me, so you pretty much covered everything. What do I do? I think at the core of everything I do is I really try to empower students like you to know that you could really do anything you put your mind to, and I try to give them opportunities and confidence to do that. As a school district leader, I think a lot of leaders are more detached from daily interactions with students, and I try to make that part of my everyday world to stay connected to the learning that's happening in the classrooms and the students. So I think that's what I believe in my core.
Absolutely, that is absolutely amazing. And I agree with that. Well, you've had an impressive career and have been at the forefront of education innovation for years. And I'm curious to know what inspired you to write The Generative Age and launch the podcast to explore the intersection of AI and education.
That's like a really great question because I didn't really choose any of it, right? Like nothing inspired me to, it wasn't a dream that I had. I never dreamed of being an author. I never dreamed of being a podcaster. My past 4 jobs I've ever had didn't exist before me and were created for me. And this just kind of goes along with that path. I think it's really important to know that I always say, this is my quote, you could do anything, but you can't do everything. So learn that one now while you're young. You could do anything you could put your mind to. You just only have a certain amount of bandwidth to do it. But I never aspired to be an author or a podcaster. What happened was the pandemic came, and through my work at the time, I was supporting a region in New York State. I was working for the state, and it was 48 school district. And then through NYSCATE, I was supporting New York State, and teachers were trying to figure out how to teach in this new type of environment. I was spread very thin, and I was up till like midnight on calls and recording things. And then when generative AI came out, it was the same type of shift. And I realized I needed to do something differently where I wasn't staying up all night, not sleeping. And so I started what was a webinar, not a podcast. And it was a monthly webinar. And what happens with a webinar is if someone misses it, they don't really go back and watch the recording. It's like, oh, let me turn this into like an on-demand webinar. But then it evolved into a podcast, and I never wanted to be a podcaster. And then one of the people that I was interviewing, AJ Giuliani, he was like, well, you have a podcast now, so you know what's next? A book. And I was like, I'm not really an author, but funny you say that because I'm writing something now. It wasn't a book. It was just like supposed to be for school leaders, like a quick start guide, like what do you need to know about AI? And then I got connected to multiple publishers, and within 48 hours, I had 3 offers, and I was a little overwhelmed, and I was like, I don't have anything left to say. And then I think as I put myself back in that learner seat where our students are now, with great educators and great mentors and great teachers, they're able to pull things out of you and believe in you and help you get to somewhere you never thought you could be. So I wasn't inspired to do any of it. I never dreamt of doing any of it. And I think the lesson that I hope everyone takes away from it is like, as life presents an opportunity, try it. If you don't like it, then don't do it. But if you like it and you try it, you might really surprise yourself and do something you never dreamt that you could do.
I second that. Opportunity knocks very softly at your door. It's you who has to take the opportunity or leave it. And you shared your journey into writing the Generative Age and launching your podcast was not something that you ever dreamt of doing. In fact, nothing in particular inspired you as well. But you simply realized the importance of knowing that while you can do anything, you can't do everything. And during the pandemic, while working, you were able to help teachers adapt to new teaching methods. And you also realized that there was something different needed to be done with generative AI. And realization sparked from webinars to on-demand webinars to evolving into your podcast. And then one of your guests inspired you to get your book out. And that's how you were able to focus on how educators can get started with AI and better support their students and navigate through transforming technology and help them learn the new technology age methods of education. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, it's like you're each one teach 10 thing, right? You have to teach at least 10 people.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. Right. So as both an education technology director and data protection officer, what are some of the biggest challenges you have faced integrating AI into the school system?
Yeah, I think with everything, people are resistant to change, right? They don't, when you know something and you feel super comfortable with something, it's hard to change. And I'm not speaking about my own district right now. I'm speaking on behalf of like what I see in a state and national level. Some education in the United States and some states gets a little bit tricky because we have this thing called tenure. I don't know if you have that in India, where teachers basically can't get fired unless they do something really horrible. And so some teachers, not all of them, are more resistant because they're like, well, I'm going to retire in 5 years, so why am I going to change what I'm doing? I can't get fired anyway. But the reality is that's not what's good for you, the student that's in the classroom, that's in the seat, right? So helping them shift their perspective from being more complacent to trying to do what's right for the student. I think it's helping them figure out the why and helping them buy into change in a place where they don't need to change, right? Education hasn't really changed all that much from when I was a student, before we had laptops in our hands. So it's one of the slowest industries to change. And I think part of leadership is helping people want to change. And so that's a big challenge, I think, that I've faced in this journey. But I think what's helped me is working with incredible students like you and having the students be at the forefront of this change. And for me, that's been the solution to the challenge. When a student can very eloquently and powerfully advocate for change and explain why this is important for their future and why it's important for them to learn it now, it's very difficult for resistant teachers to argue with that.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. You've mentioned as one of the biggest challenges that you've faced is teachers overcoming the resistance to change. And you said like some of them have that thinking that, particularly those nearing retirement, they're reluctant to adapt and integrate new technologies like AI into the teaching practices. But when students like us, we go ahead and speak out to them, this is
Yeah.
not just about them, it's about both of us, wherein
Yeah.
our future is at stake, and then we are the ones who are the young change makers and the future leaders. So we need to know how new age methods work about for us, so we can learn well in the classroom and know how our skills from those are going to be used in the future. So I
Yeah.
think that's how we need to have more committed people who are encouraging and willing to learn and evolve with times.
Yeah.
Truly. So, you've discussed about the opportunities AI offers in education. Can you share some specific example of a specific success story where AI positively impacted a student learning?
Yeah, I think AI definitely levels the playing field. Um, I think one example, if I only can give one, that's a really hard thing to do, but we have a very large ENL population, that stands for English as a New Language, and we have students that are brand new to the country. They don't speak any English, and putting them in a classroom where they're expected to learn content and they don't even speak our language, it's really challenging. So with AI, we can create these custom chatbots that help all learners learn, right? And help them learn independently. Like, so not even our ENL students, if someone wants a little bit more of a challenge or if someone needs a little bit more support, the AI can help them, give them feedback on their work in the way that they're most receptive to, challenging them in a way that's great for them. But with our ENL population, I see that being life-changing for them because it's the first time they can engage in the content in their native language and be able to feel like they're not completely lost. And when you're sitting there in a 5th grade, middle school, 8th grade social studies class, or math, maybe not math because that's numbers, but like social studies or science class, and you really don't even understand basic English, let alone these scientific words, or you're learning about US history or something, you're completely lost. And having that translation, I think, is life-changing for those students.
Indeed, I second, because I think you mentioned about how AI positively impacted student learning. Like you said, many of largest population has English as new language for students.
Yeah.
So for them, English can be incredibly challenging. However, when you integrate AI, they're able to use custom chatbots, which can help them learn even more independently if they wish to. And it can provide them with personal feedback or engage them with learning materials so that they can learn at their own pace and be more comfortable, and they can gain more confidence in their language skills. And ultimately, the focus would not be about learning English, but learning the content, and that
Yeah.
they can, improve their education experience, so it can reduce their stress and focus and increase their focus on more about learning, so they can progress forward just like the other people who can
Yeah.
converse in English. Indeed. Thank you for sharing that. Well, I have a fun question to ask you. Well, I was before I have my exams going on, but I was reading about a mystery book before my exams. So, if you had a chance, what mystery or phenomena would you love to solve or understand
Oh,
that
that's
may
so
have
hard.
happened in the past or is going on right now?
Oh, so you told me you wanted to surprise me and not ask me in advance. Or you asked me if I wanted to know in advance. I love thrillers. Like, I love thriller books. They're my favorite kind of book. When I detach from screens, I read paper fiction books, and they're usually thrillers. So this is a fun question for me because it's how I detach from the world. I I don't know about one mystery or phenomenon in the world that I would want to specifically understand. I love like uncovering clues and digging into things and figuring things out. I would love to do that as a passion. Maybe like something that always fascinates me that I'm just obsessed with is like space. Like I'm it's not a mystery, but I guess it's a phenomenon. I think we are tiny little specks on the earth. Like, as I've traveled, the one profound thing for me, and I guess this is a phenomenon, when I went to Machu Picchu in Peru, and I hiked above the Machu Picchu ruins, elevated in the Andes Mountains, looking down on it, and I realized, like, number one, like, how did they build that up there? That's a phenomenon. But looking down at it, it's so tiny, and you're looking at these grand mountain ranges, and it's this tiny little thing, and you're like, that, like, we are nothing in this world unless we leave an impact, right? You could come, you could go, and you are the one that chooses to leave an impact behind you. But then you like look up at the sky at night and you see all of these stars, and every star is a sun, and every one of those suns has planets, right? And then that's just our galaxy and our solar system. Like, what is beyond that?
Yeah,
I'm fascinated by that. So if I could
indeed.
solve that, I'm just really curious. I just want to know. So I guess that would be
I
it.
agree because like I have a similar thinking about exploring the parallel universe and even the multiverse, because there will be many planets like
Yeah.
Earth that are
Yeah.
there in the entire galaxy. And also I was particularly curious about knowing about aliens, if they exist or not.
Well, they have
Because that,
to. I mean, like,
yeah,
there has to be life, because
extraterrestrial
how,
species. Yep.
how can there be that many suns out there and that many
Yeah.
planets and there not be one living thing? Like, it's kind of impossible.
Yep, I agree. Well, I was thinking about, deciphering how do asteroids not hit the Earth. But then I realized the thing is that Jupiter is the planet that's protecting us. So that's one thing I discovered yesterday, but it's not something I have solved. But yeah, thanks to NASA for solving that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Indeed. Well, Monica Joshi says that she wants to know why James Bond is called 007.
Oh, I don't
Oh,
know. Do you know the
me
answer?
neither.
We should ask ChatGPT.
Well, maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you so much for sharing that. Amazing. It was a nice discussion about planets and
Yeah.
universes. So, we've heard a lot about how AI can help reboot education. So, what fundamental shifts have you, believe, or do you believe that is needed to happen for AI to be truly transformative in education?
I think for me, what excites me most about this and the transformational change that I think it's not about the AI itself. And like I alluded to a little bit before, education hasn't really changed all that much from when I was your age sitting in a classroom. I think so many industries have evolved and so many industries have changed, and education's one of the ones that hasn't. Like what I maybe did on a paper worksheet, now students are doing on a laptop, but it's the same thing and hasn't been a fundamental shift. And I like to give this little analogy because it kind of puts things into perspective. Like right in a world where AI could do your work for you, I always tell teachers, when I was little, or when Google came out, we used to say if a question's Googleable, it's maybe not a good question. And now if an assignment is AI-able, if the student could just take your assignment, copy it, and paste it in a chatbot, it might not be a good assignment anymore. Say might, because, it's subjective. And we have to rethink what we're asking our students to do. So all the AI companies out there are like, teachers, it's going to save you time. This is going to save you time. Use AI, help you come up with the assignment. So the AI is coming up with the assignment for the teacher. And then the students are probably going home and using AI to do the assignment, because they probably all are. And then the teachers, let's save you time. Let's save you time. AI will help you grade it. So the AI is creating it, doing it, and grading it. So what is the point of that assignment if AI is doing every single step of the way? So I think we really need to rethink, I say, the what, the why, and the how. What we are asking our students to do, why we are asking them to do it, and how we're assessing them. And I'm not suggesting to get rid of anything like foundational. I think for me, it's like taking the assignment, like, first of all, use AI to eliminate anything that's unnecessary. Like at your age, you don't need to be doing the same type of foundational skills that an elementary schooler is doing. Like, let's just use AI to save you, the student, time to get rid of the stuff that you don't need to do for that assignment anymore, and then help you take that time that you now have and do deeper work and more meaningful work, and work that's more important for your future, for you to be successful. And I think that, like, this right here, this podcast is an example for you of how you can't just research me and write a paper. Yes, you could do that. You could research me and write a paper. You could use AI to help you write a paper about me. But the amount of research that you had to do and then show up here right now and engage with me, that's taking that assignment of writing an essay about me and apply it to something that's meaningful and going to help you be successful in your life. So I think we need to give students more opportunities of more real world things, and applying the basic tasks of what we're asking them to do in a more meaningful way, where the student's going to be more engaged, but also that's a world you're about to grow up into. Like, these are skills that you need to be successful, because if you only know how to read about me and write a paper, that's not going to get you as far as this is right here. So I think for me, it's just redefining the end product, right? Like, focusing on the learning process, assessing the learning process, because the end product isn't the thing we should be assessing anymore. It's the whole process of how we got there, but then also rethinking what the end product looks like. So I guess that's what I think.
Yeah, I cannot agree more. Absolutely. You've emphasized how it is truly going to reboot education, and there needs to be a fundamental shift in how we approach assignments and assessments. Right now, like you rightly mentioned, students can easily copy and paste the answers. But with AI, we need to rethink this process. AI indeed has the potential to create them and even grade them. But educators must ask the deeper question, like, what are we assessing? Why are we doing it, and how can we make it more meaningful? By focusing on these elements, teachers can move towards understanding, assessing students where they are applying their knowledge rather than just taking rote tasks. And AI, of course, can eliminate unnecessary elements which are not needed in the learning process, wherein teachers and students both have more time to engage in more deeper and meaningful work. Like, an example I can share here is our assessment patterns, which have changed due to the new education policy. So I'm giving my grade 12 board exams right now. And the the best example could be economics. Well, we are not, the pattern used to be different before that. You're just learning and you're writing it down for your direct questions. But now the kind of questions we have are more application based. You're given a situation, you're given like, this is something that happened, and how do you apply the knowledge? Well, that's what we need, because somebody who has to take up economics in the future needs to know the application of those concepts. So it won't be just rote learning. And that's how you're enhancing your skills, by you know about application based learning.
Yeah.
And I wish this could have been done earlier, but I'm grateful that it's been applied now. And it needs to be done from the earlier grade levels, where students know how to apply their learnings so that they can understand it easily, and of course use it in the future wherever they need it.
No, I know. And then that's what bothers me about a lot of these AI tools. Like, oh, teachers, we can help you make better, help you make multiple choice questions. And I'm like, the kids should not be assessed by multiple choice questions.
Absolutely. I mean, you can get the right answer by just, making a trick or asking your friends, or maybe just choosing it on random, but you won't know the reason behind the answer.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's no fun.
I know.
Absolutely. Right. So moving on to our next question for you. So as AI continues to evolve rapidly, what advice would you give to students like me who are looking to thrive in an AI-driven world?
Yeah, so that's a really great one. So as you know, Namia, but I don't know if your audience knows, I started this organization called Students for Innovation. And it's a platform that empowers students to advocate for change in their school environments. And we're hosting a completely student-led virtual summit in May. So if you look up studentsforinnovation.org, and Namia is going to be joining us as one of the student presenters. So we're very, very excited to have her. And if you're a student that's listening, please check it out. If you have an idea that you want to share, we're accepting proposals for the conference. But also, we want to help support you, because change has to come from you. So, like, the advice I give you is, if you want to be successful in the world that you're about to graduate into, you need to know how to use AI. Because a job that's going to hire, they're either going to hire someone who knows how to use AI and knows how to use it the right way and knows how to use it well, because you're going to be more efficient, more effective than someone who doesn't know how to use it. So you need to know how to use it if you want to be successful and you want to get a job. You are at a major disadvantage if you don't know how to use it, and you don't know how to use it ethically, and you don't know how to use it the right way. So you need to learn that. If you're not learning that in school, then find a safe place for that you can learn, because you will need this. But I also really highly encourage you to advocate for change in your school, because even though you're going to go home and you're going to teach yourself this, and remember, you could do anything, not everything, but you could learn it on your own. But advocate for change, because those other students who aren't like you need to learn this too. And you can really make change within your own environment, and it's so rewarding to be a change maker. And I think if you learn these skills now in school on how to advocate for yourself and advocate for change and how to educate others, like you're each one teach 10, you can accomplish great things. So to think outside of yourself and be selfless and support your community and educate your teachers. You could educate them. You can go to your administration. You can offer to support them. That's where I would start. I would start by teaching yourself and advocating for change.
Absolutely, totally agree with that. And you rightly mentioned how students can embrace AI as a tool for innovation. And you've emphasized on the importance of learning how to use AI effectively, as it will be crucial for future job opportunities, where we students should focus on the ethical use of AI and advocate for creating safe learning environments where we can experiment with and explore AI's potential as well. And by becoming the change makers within our schools and beyond as well, where we can help drive progress and ensure that AI is integrated thoughtfully into education and prepare others as well as ourselves for success in an AI driven world. That sums it all up. Thank you so much for today's amazing podcast. And we've had amazing comments coming in as well. Teachers want to change, but they are boggled with the mundane tasks that take their entire energy. This was one of the above questions that I asked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just reading through these comments now. I didn't see them before.
Well, there's a question. What's your opinion? AI being the tool used in the classroom, whether it's going to take nurture toll of a teacher in the long run?
I think that what I'm finding right now is there's a blend of a teacher and an AI. And in one of my classrooms, one of my teachers uses it all the time for all of the assignments. And the students have a choice. Do you want AI feedback or do you want teacher feedback? And we are seeing right now 50% prefer the teacher and 50% would rather work with the AI. But I think what's great about certain AI tools that are used in the classroom is that the teacher can see the chat history and they can know what types of questions the student's asking. And I think the teacher then can nurture the student, even if they're not working, like the students preferring the AI, they can still nurture them by knowing how they're using it. So I don't think it's one or the other. I think it's both. I think the answer is both.
Yep, I second that. It's going to help teachers, of course, in a way, because AI cannot totally take the role because we, of course, need that personal touch. And social emotional learning cannot be seconded with AI.
And also, teachers just don't have the time to sit with every single student every single day and give them feedback. They just, it's impossible. So by the students working with an AI and then the teacher checking in on the work that they did, they can actually nurture them and support them in a better way than they've ever been able to in the past.
Personalized learning, absolutely. Agree. Well, there's another comment. AI can enhance learning by providing personalized support and resources, but it won't replace the the nurturing role of the teachers. Even human interaction and empathy and mentorship are irreplaceable aspects of education that AI can't replace. Teachers and AI can complement each other to create a more effective learning environment.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's true.
Well, too much excited for Students for Innovation in May. Congratulations, Namya, the great hashtag each one teach 10. Thank you. Yeah, the point is it's not necessary to know how to use AI. It's how you use AI.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, everyone.
Amazing. Well, it was lovely talking to you today, Alana. Before we end today's discussion, we would love to know where we can find you online and what message would you like to give to the audience that is listening to you right now.
You can find me on all social medias at Alana Winnick. It's really easy. It's my name. And the advice I would give to everyone is to, if you've never used AI, please try it. And I think embracing change, I think we all have to remember that the reason, if you're a teacher, the reason we're here is to prepare students to be successful in their future. And this is very much their future. And if they do not know how to learn this right now in school, they're going to be very unprepared when they enter the workforce. And that's not why we went into teaching. So I know it's uncomfortable. I know it's difficult, but our students deserve that. And it's okay to not know. And it's okay to learn with your students. So if you don't know, just be open and honest. And I'm sure your students will want to learn with you. And then if you're a student, you have to learn this. And if your teachers are not teaching you, then you have to advocate for change. So that's where I would leave everyone. And join us in May for Students for Innovation, student-led conference with Namya.
Indeed. Thank you so much, Alana. Listening to you reminds me that one must embrace change, harness the power of AI, and together we can transform education into a future where both teachers and students thrive in a world full of endless possibilities. Thank you so much once again. It was nice having you on the podcast.
It was such a pleasure. You're doing amazing things.
Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for joining and listening to this episode. I'll see you in the next one. Till then, each one teach 10. Have a nice day.